Hi, welcome to my channel again. In the previous video, I introduced the game Mr. Love Queen's Choice and some special features of the game. If you remember the news that fans celebrate characters' birthday by renting billboards of Shanghai Shopping Plaza, you may wonder how popular the game is and why it is popular. So this video will focus on the business performance of the famous Otome games in Asian market. I would say Mr. Love Queen's Choice was so popular when it first released in 2017. The dating simulation game has ranked top 3 in iOS free-to-play category the first month after its release in 2017, and once reached nearly 200 million monthly income flow at the beginning of 2018. The game industry in China quickly discovered the huge potential of the blue ocean market, and the year 2020 has become the meta year of Otome games for women players, with top game giants investing into the market aggressively. From NetEase Parallax Universe-themed RPG game for Otome to Tears of Themes by Mihayo, which has detective features, top gaming companies all aim at creating their own original IPs in the Otome game field. From the game design perspective, the reason why the game is popular is explained in the previous video, but we shouldn't overlook some features of the free-to-play mobile game market in China itself. Mobile platforms are perfect medium for leisure games, and as there is more and more casual gamers, there are certain companies that seize the chance to develop games specifically fitting into their needs, and develop games that are localized for the culture in certain area. For the mobile game genre, we got Honor of Kings by Tencent. But I would say the potential of female-oriented market are a little bit undervalued at that time. Also, from the player side, we haven't heard of similar news that players rent a billboard of the whole building for celebrating birthdays of certain characters before Mr. Love Queen's Choice. So what's the deeper reason behind that? Why the Otome game market before Mr. Love all seems relatively in a minority position? Someone says because the dating simulation game is usually created at low cost, so there is too much similar games existing in the market that are relatively less replayable, so the experience of the gamers are usually one time. I partially agree that, but I would say that creating real commercial Otome games are really costly. According to statistics for making one commercial dating simulation games, it needs more than 200 graphics and CGs. One CG costs about $800 to $1,300. It usually takes a team of at least 5 to 6 people to create for a year. Screenwriters for the game may need to have professional writing training or a degree in a related field. In its heyday, the industry also required talent for writing, such as writing light novels, operas, comic scripts, and so on. More of 40 BGM songs are produced, including the theme song, ending song, and special effects. Also, inviting famous voice actors is costly. At the same time, before Mr. Love Queen's Choice get popular, the target audience in the Otome game market is limited. People don't even know about what dating simulation game is. So even though before Mr. Love Queen's Choice, there is some platforms that release Otome-themed games, these games are not commercialized usually, and as overall purchasing power from the gamers are relatively weak, not so much studios find the commercial values of investing into these games. Some people may ask, how about the Japanese game market? They got so many dating simulation games. If it is really minority position, how could they thrive and survive? But because Japanese Otome game industry, they usually have a strong ACGN background, they can produce fancy design and CG in a relatively low cost as there are too many talents competing for the same position. Also, the relatively long history of Japanese Otome games produce a certain type of loyal gamers. They might support the games they love at all costs. They buy official derivatives of the game. If this sounds familiar as compared to Mr. Love Queen's Choice fans nowadays, It's because the players find it worthwhile to pay. And the reason why they feel their spending is worthwhile is because the game have good quality. Above, I mentioned a little bit about what the Otome game market in pre-Mr. Love age looks like. Now I also want to point out that even though 5 years has passed, none of the game giants in China recreated a sensational phenomenon as compared to Paperwork Studio, the studio that creates Mr. Love Queen's Choice. For example, for miHoYo, the developer for Genshin Impact, their Otome-based games Tears of Themes only accounts for 1% of the total revenue in 2020 and incurred criticism on its marketing strategy as well as plagiarism issues. In one word, women players' reactions to those newly developed IPs are much more tepid compared to the first release of Mr. Love. Here, there is such a situation in the Chinese market. Otome games are popular, but the most popular games count for most of the market. It's basically a monopoly situation that lasts 5 years. But does that mean that there's no game that could be as successful as Mr. Love Queen's Choice? The next video, we will see a newly released game by Tencent called Light and Night that might be a turning point for that. So that's basically what I'm gonna talk in this video. Thanks for watching.